You've been told if you keep your head down, work hard, and prove yourself, recognition, promotions, and opportunities will come. But let's be honest, that's just not true. This is Lead Without Limits, a podcast for professionals in multifamily and beyond who are ready to stop second-guessing themselves. Because leadership isn't just about titles or tactical skills. Yes, we'll cover those here, but real leadership starts from within. It's about changing the beliefs and behaviors that have kept you playing small and rewiring the thought patterns holding you back. I'm Shannon Bryant, a confidence and pattern expert, and this is the space where we talk real growth, real change, and maybe have a little workday humor along the way. This episode is brought to you by the Multifamily Media Network, delivering the latest news, ideas, and inspiration across the multifamily sector. If you're ready to lead without fear, lead without doubt, and lead without limits, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Okay, today's guest is someone you cannot forget once you meet her. I mean, first of all, let's just address it. She has possibly the most perfect teeth I have ever seen. So there's that. And you're just going to be drawn to them. I'm glad that we have this on YouTube. Erica Ballard is bold, she's smart, and she's not here to play small. She is the kind of woman who will challenge everything that you think you have to do and help you figure out what actually works instead. I am so excited for this episode. Welcome, Erica. Hi.
Hi, thank you for having me. What an intro. I really appreciate it.
I want to talk about first, we had a great conversation when we talked the first time, and I just loved your energy and you talking about, hey, we don't have to do, like, we think all of these things, we have to do these things. You definitely came from a different world into what you're doing now. So can you talk a little bit about what you're doing?
Sure. Yes. Very different world. I spent the first 15 years plus of my career in public health and healthcare. And now I would say I've melded the science and the woo. So I work as a spiritual teacher, coach, whatever language you want to use, mentor, and I do mindfulness facilitation. And so what that means is I really help people hear that tiny voice inside of them, that inner knowing, divinity, whatever, inner being, intuition, their language, whatever that is, I help you hear it because it's there so you can start to follow it to create an aligned life.
Well, and I think that's so important because we think, oh, this is the thing I have to do, or this is the thing I got into, and there's no way I can do anything different now. I don't know the skills of something else. What is it that I would do? And one, I think it's the biggest question. I remember my son when he was, graduating high school and trying to decide what he wanted to do and, which college and if college and all of the things. And there's a lot of pressure, even from then, that age, to figure out, what am I going to do with my life? Right?
I'm only laughing because I'm thinking about 18-year-old me who wouldn't even recognize 39-year-old version of me. Right? Like the path you take is to get you to where you're to go. It's a starting point. And I find that you grab this information to help inform your life. The contrast, as much as we hate it, because we hate it, like the contrast, the dislike, the hardship, it's there to say, oh, I don't think I want this. It's not to always push through, to bulldoze, to prove, right? We use that, I'm going to get it. I'm going to go. This is like, if it's hard, it's mine. And it's like, nah, dude, like if it's hard, it's probably not yours. If it's challenging, makes you think, makes you, you know what I mean? Like push past comfortable, probably yours. Struggle, that's not yours.
Okay, so it makes sense that I'm not like a mathematician or teaching arithmetic because that is a struggle for me. Mm-hmm. So I got it. Good.
Nailed it. You've nailed it.
It's good. I'm so good at picking stuff not for me. Right?
Actually, I think most of us, if we would just own that we're so good at that, we would find our way forward so much easier. Like we feel bad about not liking things. And it's like, no, be the best at naming what you don't like because that enables you to figure out what you do.
I love that you just gave permission to people to do that, because we don't want to admit we're not good at something or we don't like something. I mean, maybe we're good at saying we don't like things, but to admit, hey, I don't feel like this is something that I'm good at. Not that we can't get good at stuff. Anybody can learn stuff, but do you feel like that helps you to figure out, hey, this probably isn't for you?
Yes, I think Strength Finders it was revolutionary at the time, right? And it still is,
Yeah.
because we've been taught to focus on our weaknesses and get them better. And it's like, or I'm just spitballing here, or you could focus on your strengths and what lights you up. So it's a mix. What am I really good at? And then what's exciting? What makes me happy? Because you might not be a great painter. Let's go there. Or here, real life example. I'm learning piano. I am not Mozart. As I've started, I'm realizing she ain't good, guys. She's not good. But it lights me up. Like learning how to play Waka Waka. It makes me smile. And so those two together were like, I'm a learner. Literally number 2 strength over and over every single time I test it. And this thing that lights me up. Oh, they can go together and they can move me forward without having to struggle the entire time.
Yes. Well, hey, you're ahead of me, because what is this? The chops. That's the only thing I know that I learned like as a little kid, and that's it. So you're way ahead of me on the piano. Okay, so I love that, to go from your strengths, because not everything has to be so hard or a challenge. And you know what I found interesting, and you tell me if you've experienced this or not, but when I started my own coaching practice and I started my own business and learning how, I've got to learn how to do this. I don't know how to do marketing emails. Oh, I have to set up a website. I don't know how to do this. So it was all of these new things that I was learning that, of course, I'm not good at in the beginning, but they were things that I did have to learn. But what was interesting, I was still doing learning and development at that time. And in the corporate world, what was interesting is the skills I was learning over here that really lit me up. That was the thing pulling me in that direction. What I learned over here then actually helped me in what I was doing in other areas.
Yeah. I think it happens all the time. Mm-hmm. Like I said, like at 18, you pick if you go to college, right? You pick a major. God bless you, right? Like 80% of us never use it.
Right.
You pick your major, you learn the things, and it transfers. Everything transfers as you move forward, because for me, like my language would say, you're putting your order into the universe, right? You're saying, hey, God, source, spirit, I want this thing. And often it's unconscious. You don't even know you're doing it, right? Mm-hmm. But as you do, you're like, I really want this thing. And so the skills that you grab, the skills that you pick up, they transfer to help hopefully move you over to the thing that you really want, that sometimes you're just too scared to admit that you do for many, many reasons. Or maybe it's not time because, you have a couple kids, these things are needed, the timing's off, all of that stuff.
So these have to do things. I think certainly we struggle with all of these. I have to do this. I have to do that. No one else is going to do them. Some people, maybe it's a single mom. Maybe it's still 2 parents in the home. And we know, based on our conversation, I'm not going to tell people, I'm not going to spill your tea about what happened a couple days ago, but we know that there could still be chaos no matter what. So how do we decipher these things that we actually do have to do versus things that we just feel obligated to do or we're used to doing? How do we decipher between those two things?
So I'm going to share that, but I do think we should spill my tea just really quickly so everyone knows that my life's not a complete disaster. Everyone, have a kid who's almost 4 and a kid who's almost 1. My 1-year-old has been vomiting, and not that there's a cute vomit, but there's like a little vomit, right? A little milk vomit. She has been projectile vomiting. She projectile vomited on me 3 times within 2 hours, lots of sheets washed. To be fair to me, she also vomited on my husband in the mall in public.
Wait, you didn't tell me that
Yeah, twice, and he was like, "Cool. I'm that parent." So then, she also woke up in her own puke with like puke on her head, smiling. So it was so that, and then in the midst of me caring for my 1-year-old, my youngest still doesn't quite get wiping after pooping. Wanted to like be a good big sister and just take care of herself, and came over as I'm holding the baby that just puked on me, sat on my leg, and smeared poop all over it. And that's when I called the day a wrap, in case anyone was wondering. I was like, it's time to shower. We got to reset. So I had to deal with that.
Yeah. That's a had to. That's a had to for sure. Good example, Erica.
Yeah. Like I had to wipe poop off of my leg. Otherwise, like I would have been sitting in it. It would have been rough for everybody involved, except for my 4-year-old, because she seriously didn't care. But yeah, so there are these things I had to do, right? Take care of this puking kid, make sure that she's drinking enough electrolytes, getting the fluids in, all that, right? And here is what I will, and this is actually a good example, because as troubling as that story was, I actually wasn't that mad in it. I was like, oh, this is happening. My kid's sick. I'm not freaking out. It was like, these are things like sometimes you've got to chop wood and carry water, right? You got to pay your bills. You got to do these things.
Yeah.
When you start to suffer and you start to obsess about your have to, that's when there's a good chance this is becoming an obligation. There's a story going on in your head, because again, my belief, right? We're a spirit having a human experience. We're a soul having whatever you want to call it, right? And at times, to play the human game, you've got to chop wood and carry water, for sure. From puke to paying bills, to working jobs you don't like because you need food on the table, et cetera, et cetera. But when you start to obsess and then tell you stories about yourself or about others and the situation you're in, this is when you know you're moving into suffering territory, into obligation territory, into not listening to my intuition territory, right? That is when you know something's off. The hard part that I will say, because I'm never here like you to like make anyone feel bad. What I will say is that oftentimes we don't even know that we're doing that type of behavior, because we've become so used to, we have habitualized telling that story. It's become a belief. And so that's the hard work, is like, you have to start to pull apart, like, oh, is it really that bad? Like, is it really impossible? Am I leaning in to the pain and causing suffering? Or is it just like painful in this moment? You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because we know, I mean, our struggle is in our stories that we have about ourselves. And that's really where it all stems from, right?
Yeah. That's what a belief is, right? It's a story you tell yourself over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. So if there is someone who is like, I'm in a job that I don't particularly care for, I'm having to do this job, I'm having to do this thing because, like you said, I have to pay bills. I have to put food on the table for my family. That can become, we get in this habit and then it's like, oh, 20 years later, I'm still at the job that I hate. And I still have that same mindset that I'm doing it because I have to put food on the table. I have to supply for my family. So you mentioned, like, how do I know the difference? And so, okay, the difference is I feel this struggle. I feel, that this is something that I don't care for, I don't like. How do we get ourselves through the moments where we know this is something I have to do because of those reasons? And then how do we know when it's time to like, okay, but is there a different way? Is there something different I could be doing?
There's two parts to that the answer to your question. So the first part, and as I'm about to say this, if you're rolling your eyes as I get ready to speak, I'm with you. I would have too, but it works. And I'm not going to get into the science of it, because People who listen to your podcast are very intellectual. And I fall into that category. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you would just do the work that you already know the science about, but like, it will work. So the first is to have gratitude for what, like, not for the job, right? For the things that the job provides. Because if you want to attract more in, if you want to start to pull apart the stories and the trauma and all the feelings and all the things, you got to start holding joy. You've got to start holding peace. You've got to start holding gratitude, because to get to where you are, to usually where you want to go, your body needs to get used to holding positive feelings. Like, and that's just the truth of it. Right. And so, and then if you want to go into quantum physics or attraction, like, you're going to attract more. So the first one is, if you're in a job you don't like, but it's paying the bills, and even if it's just like skirting you by, get grateful for the money coming in, get grateful that you can take care of your kids, get grateful for those type of things. Then the second piece is, if you're like, is this it? Well, one, if you're like, is this it? Spoiler, you're struggling. And you should look into it. But if you're like, I don't know, like, maybe I'm like waiting for something, I recommend writing out what you want. And if you can't, because a lot of people can't, start to write out what you don't like. And not like I hate my boss, but like, I don't really like going into the office every day. I don't like doing math, right? Like, I don't. Write it all down. Get your contrast in order so that you can move then to the next step of what I do like. And start then, as you start to understand what you do like, start to add that, like, don't like, then the do like, and then you start to add the things that you like more into your life while having appreciation. And it starts to compound. And I say that because when we go through a healing journey or a personal growth journey or whatever you want to call it, we're like, I gotta find the root problem and kill it. Like, right? Like, that's what we do. Yeah. And while healing is a lot of subtraction, I will give you that, it's also an addition of things you genuinely like. We are like, healing's so hard. Growth is so hard. And it's because you don't do any of the fun part of growing. And so that's what I would say. One, do the gratitude thing, be really grateful for what is. And the second part is like, figure out what you like and start to add it back into your life. And if you can't get there, start with what you don't like, and then do the opposite of what you don't like, right, on the other side. And then start to pick from that list and do a little bit. Because what you're doing is you're using, universal law, and then you're also using the human body to build the capacity to hold the things that you want, so you can continue to expand the nervous system capacity, right, to bring more joy and all that stuff into your life.
Oh, I love it. And please, I don't know where I heard this because I listen to so much stuff, and I try to keep track of like, oh, that was really great. That was a really moving thing. But this one I can't remember, but there was some study that they did that said, and I had to listen to it twice because I'm like, isn't that not the same thing? But it wasn't. So there was this study of, were people happier when they removed more negative thoughts or when they added more positive thoughts? And it was when they added more positive thoughts, people then became happier. So what you're saying is, and it kind of goes back to, okay, here are the strengths, here are the things that I do like to do. Of course, there's this long list of maybe things I don't like to do, but here's this list of what I do like to do. And how can I incorporate more of that in my life, in my job? And maybe to your point, okay, now I can actually see the things I like to do. Maybe I can go talk to, the people, the higher ups, my supervisor, whatever. How can I get more of this, do more of this in my role versus, the dreaded, oh, it's Monday and I hate that I'm going there.
Yeah, I actually woke up. It's so funny. Like, despite my past few days, I woke up so grateful and so happy. And I took note of it. I was like, whoa, you have really shifted. The fact that you were waking up, and I woke up late, right? Like, quote unquote late, because I'm recovering from sleep and all of that. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't like, oh, run, you got a podcast interview. I was like, okay, Cars is playing, like the music of Cars for any parent is playing downstairs. And I just went downstairs like, life is like just singing and so grateful for my day. And it sounds so foreign to some people to get here, but what you shared, and I think I'm going to add this for those who love the intellect, is that's how the brain works. The reason that what you said is true is because when you stop a negative thought, if you don't replace it with a positive, right, you're not building the new neural pathway to allow you to think in the way that you want to. The brain does not allow you just to stop a thought. It's going to just keep sending that thought, right, over and over and over again until you put a new one in its place. And so adding more positive thoughts is the move. The trick, the paradox, I would say, is that you also have to feel your feelings in all of this. And that is why I find people have trouble with the growth is you got to stop the negative thought, put in a positive, but in between, you got to feel your stuff. And most of the people I serve really don't want to feel their stuff.
Yeah, people are going like, okay, pause, like, no, closing out of this right now. I don't want to do that. Is it hard for people? Some people.
Yeah. Most people.
Yeah, most people. Why are we so either, is it fear? Like, oh, we don't want to know what those feelings are, or because we don't want to feel them?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, that's that. It's a yes to that. And it's trauma. It's a safety mechanism response. It's self-protection. All of that is wrapped up into why we've essentially been taught, don't feel your feelings. Mm-hmm. Feelings are bad. And the hard part about that is if you don't feel the negative, you can't feel the positive.
Yeah, I think that's more, it's like we've been taught that feelings are negative, usually negative. Mm-hmm.
But you can't hold, like my favorite line that I can't quote either is that healing means you can feel all the range of emotions, not just a few of them.
Not just the feel good ones, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because as you continue on this walk, you realize that like the negative is positive.
To say more about that, the negative is positive, because people are like, what? What is she talking about?
What I mean by that is like when you start to feel bad or frustrated, let's use that one. When you start to feel frustrated, because I think we can all get that one, you realize, oh, something's happening in me. I've got to choose again. Oh, something's happening in me. It's probably not that person. It's probably not that thing. And it pauses you and then redirects you inward to then move into the positive. And that's when like people like me who are like, there's no bad or good feelings, right? Like it sounds super annoying, but that's what we mean. We mean like, hey, that bad feeling is the contrast. The contrast is moving you into the space you want to be. So instead of being mad about it, just say, oh, it's happening. Why?
Got it. So you're saying having these emotions, whether you first categorize them as positive or negative, they're beneficial always, because that's going to lead to like, hey, what's really going on? Which is usually when we have a negative feeling, it's because there's something there that you need to address or that you need to pay attention to, or that you got to bring to the surface.
Yeah, it's emotions are I'm like, I almost said like map book, but that says my age. You guys, I meant to say GPS. I meant to say GPS.
Yeah. Look her up in the telephone book. That's how you get a hold of Erica Ballard. Look her up in the telephone book.
Your emotions are your GPS. There we go.
Yes. Okay. So emotions are our GPS. They're going to guide us to what we need to know, right? Where we need to go.
Yeah. My language would be home, like where you need to go, but also home. Like if they're listening to your podcast, they're growing. And it's like these emotions, they exist to walk you back to who you are so that you can live in a way that feels really good to you, not everybody around you.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I love that you do, because on your website, it says you already know what to do. I help you hear it. And I was like, oh, that's so great, because one, you kind of mentioned it earlier, like we all know how to stay thin and healthy if that's what we want to do. We know it. Everybody knows it. We've heard it thousands of times. But having the knowledge of what to do means nothing unless we actually do the thing, right? That's when we see. So I might know what what I really want to do, what I'm feeling called to do this thing. I feel like whatever the thing is, but it's the doing.
It's the doing. Yeah.
That gosh darn doing, it's so hard.
It really is. It really is at the beginning. And I always want to own that. Like it becomes like everything I'm saying, oh, the contrast is fun and enjoy it and the gratitude. Like, right. It is like it's fun and it's fairly simple and it becomes enjoyable when you're here. Right. But the walk there is hard. It's challenging. And what I used to work as a health coach, as I know is what you're also referring to, right? And I would tell people, eat kale, eat less sugar. And they're like, no, duh. Obviously, like if I could, I wouldn't be here with you right now.
Tell me the magical thing. Not that thing. I already know that thing.
And the magical thing is the mindset and the somatics, right? The mind and body stuff. Right now, there's like such a debate. Is it mindset? Is it somatics? Is it mindset? It's all of it. It's all of it. It's mind, body, spirit. And that's the piece of this, right? Like the doing becomes hard because you're breaking a habit. You're breaking a way of thinking. You're also undoing your trauma. You're also going against everything that you have been doing for a very long time. Your conditioning, societal norms, all of that, right? You're like pulling all of that stuff apart. And that's why it feels so hard. But what I know is that it actually feels good. You just kind of feel bad about how good it feels.
Ooh, yeah. Like, dang, why wasn't I doing this for the last 10 years? Why wasn't I doing this for the last 20 years, right?
Yeah. Or like, I really wanted to say no to her. like even more basic. Like, I told her not to call and that felt nice, even though it felt hard, right? Like,
right. Oh, I did the thing. I see. Okay. I'm tracking now.
Yeah.
I did the thing and that actually felt really good.
And that's the magic is like, we all want to say like, okay, this is what I want to do. And I want to get there and I want to manifest this career and this money.
Yeah.
I love it. But let me tell you something about manifestation. You got to be it to get it. And so that's where like the doing becomes easy when you become that person. And that's the walk. So example, let's go on a limb and say you want to be a coach. Let's just go out on a limb and say you want to be a coach. Okay. When you think about that, you got to understand who, like you think about not, I want to be a coach. That's what we say. But what do you really want on the other side of it? I want freedom. I want to feel heard. I want to be prosperous, right? These are the things, those top three usually are always it, right? Okay, I want these three things. All right, girl, go be about it right now. Like, go be those things right now. And prosperous might mean saving $20. It doesn't have to mean making $1 million. Right? What do prosperous people do? They handle the money that they have well, right? And so you start to do a little bit of that. You start to say what you really mean. You start to let yourself off the hook a little bit and do what you want to do. You say and set a boundary. So you start to do those things. And as you do that, you're building the muscle, the capacity, right? To be able to do it on a larger scale. But the doing feels hard because you aren't that person yet. And your work is almost always doing the things that enable you to be that person. So that if we're going to go law of attraction and manifestation, like we just talked about, like then you pull it in because you're being it. But we're all like, but I need the certifications that I've got the clients. Yeah, for sure. 100%. And what I wrote in my journal 2 days ago was the manifestation only exists to enable you to be the kind of person that can hold it. Like because when you get the coaching business, it's not fulfilling unless you're a different person than you were in the other job.
Yeah, because we'd be amazed at what just those tiny small changes, whether it's something that you want to start on your own or even where you are now. Like if you're a mid-manager and you're like, I want to move up, I want to do, I want to be on the executive team or whatever that is. Okay, what are the things that you can do right now to start being that person who would have that role? And okay, let's do these many things. Eric, I couldn't help but think when you were talking about like it feels good to do the thing, I couldn't help but think of a boyfriend I had many, many years ago. And, this was back in the day when, I was dating maybe not the greatest of people. And he was trying to convince me that he had a chiropractor appointment at 9:30 on a Friday night.
Sorry.
And
I was like, 9 a.m.? Yeah.
And I know you're from a small town and people do it a little bit different there, but I don't think I buy this. I don't think I believe that you have a chiropractor appointment at 9:30 tonight. And that's why we cannot hang out. But for a second, I want to believe. I started to well, maybe. But here's the thing. So the next day I'm like, okay, go do your thing, whatever. So the next day I was like, I'm doing this. I called. I put on my big girl pants and I said, hey, this isn't going to work out. I deserve someone who treats me different, blah, 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 blah. I gave the whole spiel. And he was like, oh, I hate to hear that kind of thing. And, but okay, I understand. I, wish you felt different. We hung up and I was like, that was awesome. I was like, that's the best feeling. And then who else can I date to go break up with? This is fun. This is great. So, maybe you meant it in a different way, but it made me think of that. It was awesome. And then you're like, oh, I can do this thing. I can do it. And it feels really good to now know, hey, I can do this.
I'm like, I have also dated some less than ideal humans. And I know similar to that story where I was like, oh, great. You can't hang out with me on my birthday? That's fine. I'm good. Don't call me again. Wait, what? I'm dating somebody else. We're good. But it does feel really good. And to take it back to the prosperous freedom component of it, it's like, you don't have to wait for it to be that big, right? Where you're like, this jabroni or whatever is is doing this thing, right? You can hear those little nudges of set the boundaries, save the $10, say the thing. And if you don't like your job, and you don't want to do some of that stuff in there, okay, go volunteer your skill set at the local shelter, go volunteer your skill set at the HOA. You hear these little things right in your head when you start to open up. And the more you listen to them, the more often they come through. And that's when you get to start to be guided to where you want to be versus pushing and doing your way forward.
Mm-hmm. That advice makes sense. It makes it easier for us. The thought of doing this big, gigantic thing, if I were to say, oh my gosh, I'm going to quit my job and go do this passion thing that I've always wanted to do, that sounds really big and super scary. But as you were saying, if I do okay, what little thing can I do? Or even in my current role, like I was saying, if I want to move up, what are tiny little things? Because that feels way safer to dip my toe in it, see what happens. Okay, what can I learn from it? Versus the huge idea of oh, this is just such a gigantic leap for me.
My one of my mentors, she said this and I love it. So I'll say it here. I'm like, I do remember who said this one to me, is she said, when you do those small things, you can bypass the ego. So when you want to just go volunteer at the dog shelter with your marketing support, your ego isn't she's blowing up her life. That thing is going to ruin everything. It's oh yeah, whatever. And you bypass your ego and you just get to go do it. And then as you do that, you go do the next thing. And usually it's, small too. That's why it's like small steps are great. And your ego's like, oh, whatever, until you become that person. And that's how you can be who you want to be without destroying your entire life and having a massive breakdown. It's when, and I did this, highly recommend against it, when you decide to just free fall out of your career and be like, nah, I'm good. I don't like it. And you do it, okay? Then you have all of your stuff still in your back pocket, all of that baggage still hanging out that you didn't deal with. And now it's amplified because now you need to pay your bills and now you need money. And now you, like you don't know how you're going to do all these things. And as a result, your ego is screaming at you, you idiot. Like, you're so dumb. Like,
yeah, you really are blowing it up. Quit it.
Yeah. And it's like coming at you. And so you're having to deal with that as you're trying to build. Whereas like, if you just stop bulldozing everything, if you just take the tiny steps, you can work with your spirit. You can work with your body. You can bypass things instead of blowing up things.
It kind of all goes back to what we said, that belief about yourself, right? Because that if that's still there, like, oh, I don't deserve this. I don't, I'm not good enough for this, all of the things that we say. So even these little steps, like it helps to give us proof too, that like, no, I can do this. I am good enough for this. I do deserve this. This does feel good. I can handle it. So taking those little steps also helps us work on hopefully that belief that's really driving the whole reason why we haven't taken the big leap in the first place. We haven't asked for the promotion. We haven't done the thing. So it really goes all back to belief, right?
Yeah. And you make such a good point that I just want to underscore. It's like in healing, again, we're like, I got to find it. And then I got to destroy the root. And healing is like an onion, right? Things come off when it's, you got to peel it back. And when you start to do these small, and they're not small. I want to be really clear. These actions are actually huge, but what feel really small to you because you're like an overachieving, like perfectionist, like smart cookie, because you're that type of person. It feels really small, but what you're doing in that is you're starting to unwind beliefs you had about yourself. And you're making space to see them because you're in a very, I'm going to use positive, right? A very positive or neutral mindset. And so truth can come through and unwind. And so this is another reason why we don't always need to figure out what's wrong with us and do all the journaling and all of the stuff. Sometimes you can, God forbid, take the route of joy to your own healing.
Oh, I like it. Okay, well, I can't not bring this up, I think, because when we talk about path, and I wasn't going to, but we talk about path, and I think it's so interesting about you because people may or may not recognize your last name around these parts, so, right?
Oh, yeah.
So your dad, I'll let you talk about him, but was there any like, oh, we want Erica to go in this path or this pressure to go your father's path at all?
No, my dad was the mayor of Indianapolis for 8 years, and people really dug him. Still really do.
Still really
do. And my dad was, I could say, I won the dad lottery. My dad never was like, you got to be this person. My mom, who I also love, she's Asian. So you take that however you want about the pressures of who I should be. Okay. Like,
oh, okay. I picked wrong parent maybe, right?
Yeah. you decide. But my dad was like, you like the arts? You like soccer? You like swimming? Oh, you like to paint? Oh, you're into music? Let's buy you a violin. It was whatever you want to do, the world's your oyster. And I would say his path to mayorship, is that a word? It's a word right now.
Sure.
To mayorship was really windy. Very few people remember this, but it was the greatest political upset in Indiana history because he was a military guy for 20 plus years. And then he worked at Bayer for a few years and was like, nah, I don't like this. And then went and figured it out. He was teaching community college because he enjoyed teaching. That's what he was doing before he became mayor. Like, the story is He told me on my 21st birthday at Colorado Steakhouse, like I'll remember it. I'm drinking wine for my first time, quote unquote, right? Like
quote unquote, as far as he knows,
right? I did go to IU, and so it was probably my first glass of wine from a bottle. To be fair,
look, Erica, don't be blaming IU now. No, that was you. Don't be blaming them.
You're right. It was 100% IU. They do make it so easy. But like, so anyway, so he told us, and my brother and I just burst out laughing. Like, and he didn't. Just my brother, cackling. And he's like, no, like, I'm going to do it. And we're like, okay. And then he did it. And then he won. But I would say that is a really good story of how I was brought up. I want to do something. This isn't making me happy. I'm going to go find what does. And I'm going to keep exploring it. And I'm not going to like his whole personality, his self-esteem didn't hang on whether or not he became mayor. Like he thought it was something you should do. He did it. I can tell you right now, knowing my dad, he would have been fine if he didn't win. But he did because he really felt like what he was doing was the best thing for him and the city at the time.
Well, and I also love, I mean, in a way that you guys kind of laughed at him. He was like, no, I'm serious. But I mean, that's how we kind of have to think about it too. Like this is what I want to do and I'm going to do it, whether people think the idea is great, love it, you know, aside from whatever other people may think, or if other people think I'm capable of it or not.
Yeah. Or even if you laugh at it, like when I became a health coach, the amount of the inner critic was so loud. Like I had a master's from Tufts Medical, like, and I'm going to be a health coach. Like, right. Even I was laughing at myself for what I thought I wanted to do. But listen, whatever lights you up, lights you up. Yeah. And there are people who, mom friend of mine in music class, her husband is an arborist. Like he climbs trees for a living, right? And studies them. And sits in them and hangs out like, and that is not to belittle. What I'm saying is you can be an arborist, right. Like whatever lights you up. And it doesn't matter that you've thought you had to get like 6 billion degrees and certifications and all you quote unquote want to do is be an arborist or a coach. It's like, does that light you up? Does that make you really happy? Great. Then stop talking about it with people who don't get it. Find people who do and follow it because it's in you for a reason. And we have to stop denying that.
I love it. Okay, Erica, people are going to want to reach out to you. How do they find you?
Yeah, so you can check out my website, ericaballard.co. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm about to be on YouTube, which is exciting. All Erica Ballard because I'm not going to say I'm lazy, but because there it is. And then I have a podcast called Modern Day Mysticism. So it's a little different than this one. We talk a lot about spirituality and mindset and how it all goes together. But those are good places to start.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for being here. I love the conversation. I could talk to you all day.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for tuning in to Lead Without Limits and investing in what matters, you. If you found this episode valuable, please share it with a friend or colleague who might benefit as well. This podcast is brought to you by the Multifamily Media Network, your trusted source for stories, trends, and insights in multifamily living. I hope this moved you one step closer to lead without fear, lead without doubt, and lead without limits.